So hopefully you've all met myself and April. We're running the EMP. So with the help of some staff at Western Sydney Uni, we'll be running this program, but we'll be your main contacts. So as you know, the program's fully online. It's something that you only need to come out to our campus a couple more times. We'll explain that a little bit later to do the complete program of the EMP. But everything else you do online. So that really means you're working through at your own pace. But it also means that April and I aren't seeing you face to face. So we're always a little bit worried about if people kind of fall behind and get quiet. We don't want that to happen. You'll have our emails, you'll have our contacts a little bit later on. Please use those. Keep in contact. If you're having trouble with anything online, if it's the smallest thing like your login isn't working, or if it's a really big thing like you can't understand a concept that we're working on, contact us and we'll sort it out, okay? So there's no question too small or too large to work with today. Now, pretty soon we'll have a bit of an introduction from our course advisor for the Sustainable Agriculture and Food Security course, Dr. Zhonghua Chen. He's going to tell you a little bit about Western Sydney Uni's agriculture course, why it's awesome. Really quick overview. But before we start off, obviously we're on direct land today. Pretty awesome place to be. And we want to do our acknowledgement of country. So this is a great place. I think the program that we've got here and the country that we're actually on, direct country, it's really, really cool because it's kind of a little known fact that, does anyone else know if their school's on direct land as well? I reckon most of you guys are pretty close, yeah. So the word direct was actually named after, it's like a little tuber, like a kind of potato-ish type thing that grows along the hawksbury. So really cool that we're entering a food-related and agriculture-related program right now on a place that's had such a rich history of agriculture. You know, Hawkesbury's been the food basin for as long as people have been here, whether we're looking at, you know, that kind of colonial history or going even further back to the direct people. Food agriculture has always been really important here. So with that said, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the direct people, and elders past and present. So let's talk about what we're doing for the EMP. Today is a time for you to, we've got till 2:30, it's time for you to ask those questions that you may need to ask. Everyone's going to approach this EMP at their own pace, and you're all going to find your own challenges here. You're all going to find bits that you excel, you do really well with. Everyone's going to kind of run their own race with the EMP. But that said, that means that you're all going to have individual questions. This day is the first chance to ask those individual questions, okay? So our day is really broken down, so you put your hand up, ask those things that you want to ask right now before we get started. What we want to break it down to is, after we do our welcome, introduce how the EMP works. I know I've done some of this at your school before, but I guarantee there'll be extra questions now that you're actually enrolled in it. I want to talk about how the EMP actually functions and how it's going to work. We're going to then move into something that's really important is our Western Sydney Uni library. You're going to be using it throughout the EMP. Great chance for you to get a head start on everyone else on how to use an academic level library. So hopefully you're all thinking about going to uni. Hopefully you're all thinking about going to our uni and doing this course. You're going to get a foot up in how to use an academic library. It's so much different to your regular council library or your school library. It's a little bit more complex. There's so much more you can get out of it. It's a great resource to know how to use right now rather than wait until you start first year, you get lumped with assignments and you're trying to learn that. So you guys can get a great head start on that. We're then going to move into your topic. So what is the topic themed this year? What is it that we're actually working to solve? And then we're going to talk about how you do it. you're going to be doing this with an electronic portfolio or an e-portfolio. I did describe some of this when I came around to your schools. We're going to actually look at someone's e-portfolio from last year. We're going to look at the product that they made, and hopefully that should give you a really good idea of not only the quality that we're expecting, but also the format that we're expecting it to be run on. And our last session for the day, obviously lunch and recess are in there somewhere. Oh, hey, Shema. Lunch and recess are dispersed in there. Our last session is the tech session throughout the day. So in that session, we're going to talk through a few important things. That's going to be our online learning system, Blackboard. We're going to talk about the emails that we've set you up with. And we're going to be using Google Sites. So if anyone's used Google Classroom before in their school, you'll feel really comfortable with that. If you've never had an introduction to using Google Drive or Google Sites before, that's okay. It's a really simple system that we're going to take a bit of time to step you through. And that's pretty much our day as it's going to run. You've all got a program, but I've got it up here also to refer back to you guys. It should be really nice and kind of slowly paced with lots of time for you to jump in with questions, have a try of some of these things as we go. But without further ado, I might introduce Dr. Jean-Marc Chen. So he's up the back. I don't know if you can weave your way through Jean-Marc if you want these guys. We've just been talking about, we haven't been talking about the course, we've just been talking about the program and explaining your role. But if you want to take a few minutes and introduce how you work into the course and some of the awesome things about the same way.
It's a big group.
Yes.
The future is growing. Yeah. Well, just a bit of an introduction for myself. I grew up in a small town in China, eastern China, pretty close to Shanghai, and well, my life was really happy and with a lot of candy rice field around, and I actually helped my parents do some work, and then I got the chance to go to uni. Like you guys, when I was in high school, anxious, and I wasn't sure when I put in my first preference as in agriculture. My grandfather was saying like, "Oh, you want to do agriculture? That's a bit strange." But I said, "Yeah, agriculture sounds fun." And I got immediately went to talk at Chinese University. Then after my graduation, I studied in the University of Tasmania here in Hobart. I had to continue my PhD. After that, after I got that PhD, then I went to the UK and did a postdoc and research. Then I come back and started my career here as a lecturer at University. My experience in agriculture, it's really a very rewarding career. It's not, well, as a researcher, from a researcher's point of view, but I think agriculture is really the fundamental support for the whole society. Without people say like, yeah, without planting food, this is the condition in Australia in a lot of Western countries. But if you look outside and globally, we are facing very big crises and challenges and for feeding the whole population across the world. And a lot of people are in starvation and they don't have sufficient nutrients for themselves. And the kids, a lot of kids in developing countries are dying very early because just they don't have enough food. So as an agriculture student and as a senior lecturer in agriculture, I really want to see our future generations also dedicate themselves for the development of agriculture nationally and internationally. And about the course, and you probably heard about the review of agriculture program in this campus, and we have a concept for agri-park. Associated with that, early this year, we launched a sustainable agriculture and food security program, which has 3 majors. So we expanded the traditional way of how agriculture runs. We have a science major, which is very important for people, students who want to do science and explore the world of science and find innovations to support the continuing growth of agriculture. As you probably know, Australia is one of the leading countries in agricultural research. A lot of the agricultural innovations was developed in Australia and is spread around the world. And we are continuing to contribute to the innovation in the agriculture globally. And we have also have a major which is in business. And agriculture business is such a big area, and it involves sales, finance, and business, international trade. So all these are very relevant to agriculture. So those students that study agriculture business will benefit from interdisciplinary. So the student will have a very solid foundation in agriculture, but they will also have skills from studying units from School of Business in the same university, and they will build their future based on that. And another exciting major is the social science major. Yes. This is really for students who are interested in really working target their future internationally. So work in the non-for-profit organizations, working in United Nations for the Food and Agriculture Organization. So to support and help people who are vulnerable and not even having enough food. So this could be your role in the future to work as one of the leading young scientists or young leader in agriculture. So these are pretty much the structure of our course.
Yeah.
And hope you enjoy this pathway program. And Chris and April, they are very passionate science teachers, and we had really good time with them, and they are very good students. Any issues, ask Chris and April. If you have any interest, you can probably ask myself and also our Director of Academic Program, Andy Broderick. And also I'd like to welcome you on behalf of our Dean, Professor Gregory Court, and our Deputy Dean, Associate Professor Paul Warmer. So welcome, and yeah, over to Chris.
Brilliant. Thanks, John. Much appreciated.